because I loved it.
Find out if Leslie loves it too next time on Antiques Roadshow from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Tonight on Newswatch, the Athens community grieves the loss of a local high school student. Plus, more confusion in Nelsonville over the resignation of its city manager. And what travel conditions can you expect ahead of this holiday season? Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Reese Thompson. Welcome to Newswatch. Donations are pouring in to help the family of an Athens teenager who died over the weekend. 15-year-old Landon Gibson was found unresponsive at Baker University Center on Ohio University's campus on Sunday. People have donated more than $20,000 to a GoFundMe page to cover funeral expenses. Gibson was active in high school athletics. He was on the baseball, basketball, football, and track teams. Gibson's basketball coach, Mickey Cozart, says he is, quote, heartbroken over Landon's passing, and he feels for all of his family and friends. He says, as a coach and parent, the last thing you ever want to see is this, and the community will keep his family in his prayers. Athens high school officials say grief counselors will be at the school for the rest of the week to support students. Confusion in Nelsonville over just who is the city manager. Newswatch reporter Haley Hollinger joins us from Nelsonville about more details at City Hall.
Reese, if you ask Bernie Roll if he's still the city manager of Nelsonville, he'll say yes. But if you ask Nelsonville Police Chief Devin Tolliver, he'll say that he's the acting city manager until the council hires a new one. Now, this is all because the city council was deadlocked 3-3 over a motion at last night's council meeting to give former city manager Bernie Roll his keys and computer access back. Roll resigned as city manager May 15th after just a week on the job, but then tried to rescind it less than 24 hours later. He says it wasn't an official resignation because it wasn't in writing and not accepted by the city council. This morning, Roll was barred from the in-city manager's office. Councilman Dan Sherman says Roll worked from home in response, but City Police Chief Devin Tolliver, under the city charter, he's acting as city manager. And he says the city has a legal opinion by attorney Bob Toy finding that Roel did resign during the May 15th meeting and confirmed the resignation when he spoke to newspapers. We'll keep you updated as the situation continues to develop. For Newswatch, I'm Haley Hollinger in Nelsonville.
Wow, Haley, it sounds like there's a lot to break down there. Thanks for the insight. Regional businesses and government leaders spent the day learning about upcoming projects bringing more economic development to Southeast Ohio. It was all part of the 11th annual Appalachian Ohio State of the Region Conference at Ohio University. Presentations covered projects ranging from economic development, workforce training, and environmental cleanup. Conference organizers say attracting new businesses and residents has been an ongoing problem in Appalachia. Senior Executive in Residence for Local Government Services, Misty Crosby, believes the future is bright with the contribution of these conferences.
So it is all around a great event that really promotes rural Appalachian Ohio and will contribute to economic prosperity for the region for years to come. So I'm excited to be the MC of it.
Organizers hope because of this conference, projects presented will secure more funding. Ohio University's Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine ranks among the top 50 medical schools in the country. According to the U.S. News and World Report, the Heritage College ranks number 49 in the country for primary care. In Ohio, the college ranks second, just behind Ohio State University. Over the last decade, the Heritage College has grown primary care in the state. The college enrolls around 1,000 students, 95% of which from Ohio.
Good evening. It is absolutely beautiful here today in Athens, Ohio. Temperatures are sitting around a comfortable 79 degrees with clear skies, very similar to what we saw yesterday with the light breeze going through. Another great day to get outside and really enjoy this lovely weather, maybe even go for a walk or read a book outside. And a lot of this is due to this high pressure system that's really moving through our area. And over the past 24 hours, we continue to see the advancement of this high pressure system moving from the central Great Plains region over towards the east. And that'll continue happening for the rest of this week as we see those temperatures continue to increase. Athens was sitting around a comfortable 81, while Lancaster, Zanesville, and Newark were at around 79 degrees today. Very comfortable temperatures as we're starting to move into those summer temperatures. It's going to be absolutely lovely the rest of this week. But tonight we'll see another drop, and it'll be around 52 with mostly clear skies. So those clouds will once again leave as we are starting to see a lot of this high pressure continue to move through. Stay tuned for more with my full weather. Now back to you, Reese.
Thanks, Emily. A Scioto County man is facing charges after allegedly shooting another man in the face. Authorities arrested Henry Allen Clay Saturday after he allegedly fled the scene in the shooting and crashed the vehicle he was driving on Pollock Road. Scioto County Sheriff's deputies got the call about the shooting around 3:30 a.m. on Sunday. Investigators say the shooting occurred due to a private altercation between the two men. The victims remain in the hospital in stable condition. 3 people are behind bars after a possible narcotics bust in Chillicothe. According to the Chillicothe Police Department, the search was executed at 368 East 7th Street. Inside the home, police found over 80 grams of suspected fentanyl belonging to Andy and Chelsea Weaver. Police say Andy admitted to using a blender to cut the fentanyl at the house. During the search, police found 3 kids between the ages of 15 and 8 months old. Police also found Mark Mellett hiding in the bathroom from police. Andy and Chelsea Weaver are charged with 3 counts of child endangerment. Mellett is charged with possession of drugs. Republican state lawmakers are introducing a bill preventing cities from shutting down businesses unless there is an emergency. Republican Representative Jeff Lair says the bill would prevent cities from shutting down businesses unless they are enforcing a curfew or an emergency in the city. The bill is in response to a recent action taken by Columbus officials. Lair says the city's actions were unfair to businesses. City officials forced street vendors to shut down at midnight and asked businesses to voluntarily do the same in response to a wave of crime in the city's downtown. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee announces a lawsuit against Governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice. The DSCC sued Justice's office demanding a record release of the governor's schedule, but Justice refuses. Justice has faced an ongoing scandal over his work schedule. The Associated Press reported Justice was largely absent at his job. While the Charleston Gazette-Mail wrote Justice is refusing to release his official schedule and calendar. DSCC spokesperson David Bergstein says Justice cannot hide behind his work schedule. He says this is an area that is sure to receive further scrutiny in the 2024 U.S. Senate primary and a court of law. Coming up after the break, Republican and Democratic leaders
Rain might be in our forecast for tomorrow. What that means for us and more when Newswatch returns.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift in your will is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
On the next Wild Scandinavia.
For me as a woman, I wanted just to put more adventure into my life. It's just you against the elements. It's great. There's something healing in it. And it is the most amazing feeling.
I mean, what we didn't realize was that the invasion wasn't the war. The war was to come.
The enduring story of the Battle of Fallujah.
Our mission was to clear the city of insurgents. It was a full-on frontal assault, and you don't stop until everybody stops shooting.
There were shots coming from everywhere.
And the human cost.
My son was one of the ones who didn't come back. Premieres Tuesday, May 23rd, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, this is Betty. This is Leslie. Betty loves this cabinet on stand.
Well, I just think it's fabulous, and I've always thought it was gorgeous. I just bought it because I loved it.
Find out if Leslie loves it too next time on Antiques Roadshow from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
The U.S. could default on its debt if Congress and the White House fail to agree on a limit increase soon. Most financial experts agree to a U.S. failure to cover its debts would send the economy into a tailspin and ultimately endanger the Social Security and government checks. Laura Aguirre brings us the latest.
We're not there yet.
Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, giving a state of play on debt ceiling negotiations Tuesday. Both parties deeply divided over future spending versus current debt.
Why are we in the problem where people spent too much money and the Democrats want to even spend more than we spent last year?
We are not going to stand by as devastating cuts are put in place that harm the economy and harm our communities.
The White House initially said cuts to Social Security and Medicare are off the table, but many Democrats are watching closely for any Oval Office concessions.
I think there would be a huge backlash from our entire House Democratic, caucus, certainly the progressives, but also in the streets.
The Federal Reserve and many business leaders are anxious to stabilize a national budget, but also the financial markets.
A default would be a message to investors all around the world of eroding confidence in America.
Find a compromise and avoid an unforced error that could tip an otherwise pretty good economy into something really bad.
Another sticking point, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen saying default could come as early as June 1st.
I don't believe that the first of the month is a real deadline.
She'll extend it, but right now she's using June 1st. Everybody knows that's false.
One point of agreement, there's still much work to be done. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
A U-Haul driver who allegedly crashed into a security barrier near the White House is charged with several crimes, among them threatening to kill the president, vice president, or other family member. U.S. Park Police 19-year-old Cy Kandula of Missouri may have intentionally crashed through security barriers last night. Law enforcement says he told them he wanted to kidnap and harm the President Biden. Kandula was immediately taken into custody and no injuries were reported. No explosives or other incendiary devices were found in the truck. But video shows police removing duct tape, a backpack, a flag that appears to have a swastika on it. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says the president is thankful for law enforcement efforts. Authorities have not yet identified the motive, but they suspect the threatening comments at the scene. A dire warning from the U.S. Surgeon General just in time for the summer. For some kids, no school means more time online. And now the nation's top doctor says using social media presents a profound risk of harm to them. Karine Kifa explains what's in the advisory.
U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy is sounding the alarm, issuing a 25-page advisory laying out the risks of social media for kids.
I am very concerned now that social media is an important factor that is driving this youth mental health crisis.
The advisory details studies linking social media to depression and anxiety, poor sleep, online harassment, and low self-esteem.
This is a real point of concern here. When nearly half of kids are telling us that social media use makes them feel worse.
Dr. Murthy is calling for more research into the impact of social media, and he's calling on policymakers and tech companies to take action.
This is pervasive. It is everywhere. And that's why it's so important that we support parents.
The White House is doing just that, mobilizing an interagency task force to identify current and emerging risks. The task force will also develop guidelines for tracking and preventing those risks.
Over the last year, we're seeing searches like how much screen time is too much for my kids, or how do I keep my kids safe online, increased by over 200%.
Google, meanwhile, is among the tech companies that say they have developed tools to help parents, including the ability to set hard screen time limits.
Actually setting up some hard limits help enable your kids to, have a chance to wind down and have restorative sleep, which is so critical for adolescent development.
In Washington, I'm Karen Katha.
America's deadly drug epidemic is worse than ever. Preliminary data suggests 2022 was the deadliest year yet in the crisis. It's well known fentanyl is a major factor. The powerful synthetic opioid is now involved in nearly 2/3 of all overdose deaths in the U.S. But the data also shows fentanyl is not the only drug. Overdose deaths involving methamphetamine are rising at an even faster pace than those involving fentanyl. According to CDC data, nearly 1/3 of all overdose deaths in 2021 involved the drug. Deaths involving cocaine are also up, jumping 24% in both 2020 and 2021.
Good evening from here in Athens, Ohio, where it's currently 79 degrees with clear skies, a little bit of a breeze. So once again, very, very similar to temperatures and conditions that we saw yesterday and even the day before that. So it's absolutely lovely. Great night to get outside. Great night to maybe even eat dinner outside if you have the opportunity. Over the course of the day today, we saw temperatures reach a high of 82 degrees, and tonight we'll see them drop to around 52. And a lot of that is due to this high pressure system that's currently dominating over our area and stretching all the way up through the New England area and back through here into Iowa. This high pressure is creating almost more of a troughing pattern over here, and we're right on the edge of that because we're also seeing some effect from this low pressure system sitting here around the Georgia and Carolinas area. And that low pressure is creating a bunch of clouds which are kind of butting up to our area, which is why we're seeing a couple of clouds come us, creating those partly cloudy skies. And here we can really see that pattern of the high pressure troughing movement and that low pressure really coming up and driving those clouds into our area. Here's a zoom in of that image right along here. You can really see the pattern of that low pressure really driving those clouds out towards the Atlantic and creating a couple clouds for us, and we might even see some rain from it after all for tomorrow. Overnight tonight, we'll see a low of 52 degrees, so a little bit chilly, but still a good night to maybe crack open your windows and get some fresh air flowing through with mostly clear skies. And tomorrow we'll see temperatures back up to 84 degrees, but those lows will drop to 47 after there's a chance of possible thunderstorms. That's about a 20% chance, so overall not too high, but that's due to this low pressure system that's currently sitting to the north of us. So this is once again, really north to us, but that's going to continue to move eastward, And as that moves east, we're going to get the tail end of that. It's going to swoop down towards us in the region area and leave us with a couple clouds with that chance of thunderstorms. But by the time we move into Thursday, that's going to move away from us, leaving us with those, once again, beautiful skies that we've been seeing for the past couple days. As we move into Thursday, those temperatures will drop into 72 since we had the overnight low of 47 degrees on Wednesday due to that incoming low pressure and possible chance for rain. And then as we move into Thursday, partly sunny skies with those clouds. That'll be the remain of that low pressure system, of that stationary front, which will produce some rain, mainly to the north of us. We might see a little bit of the end of that. And an overnight low on Thursday will be around 46 degrees. As we move into Friday, we'll start to see some mostly sunny skies as that begins to move away from us, and temperatures will rise up to around 76 degrees. So those temperatures will begin to pick up, but overnight they're still around 47. So it's still going to be a bit of a chillier night overnight. We're not looking at those summer overnight temperatures quite just yet as we move into our weekend. Saturday, we're looking at partly sunny skies with a high of 74 degrees and a low of 50. So those temperatures will slowly begin to pick back up as we move through the weekend. And Memorial Day weekend, we're still looking out for what's going to happen there. We can see there's a 30% chance of showers on Sunday and a 30% chance of thunderstorms on Monday, but hopefully those will hold out as we continue throughout the weekend. It's once again just a little bit too early to tell quite just yet what's going to happen, so we're going to keep an eye on that to make sure you all have a great weekend. Yeah, those temperatures are really looking great for this week. I know I'm excited to start to get to those summer temperatures. I don't know about you.
Yes, we better take that warm temperature while we can, because most of the time we actually don't get that warm weather.
Oh, for sure.
But I heard it's about to get even hotter. Thanks, Emily. Speaking of warm weather, according to a new study, rising global temperatures could expose billions of people to dangerously hot conditions in the coming years. The study, published in the journal Nature Sustainability, says the climate niche where humans flourish is between 55 and 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Outside that window, conditions tend to be too cold, too hot, or too dry. If the world continues on its trajectory, about 2 billion people will be living outside the niche by 2030. According to the study, they will be facing average temps of 84 degrees or higher. By 2090, that population grows to nearly 4 billion people. Already, 600 million people are living outside the niche. Tens of millions of Americans are expected to travel this holiday weekend, and travel alone could exceed 2019 travel numbers by more than 5%. AAA says the Memorial Day weekend could be the busiest at airports since 2005. Ivan Rodriguez has more on what to look out for this weekend.
Memorial Day weekend is considered the unofficial start to summer, and with it, the start of a busy travel season.
This coming weekend, we're expecting to see levels we haven't seen since before the pandemic. FAA is projecting more than 51,000 flights on Thursday alone.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says even though this weekend will be a test of the system, he's confident airlines will be prepared. He said the department is collaborating with airlines to reduce congestion, and when things go wrong, pressure them to improve customer service.
Cancellation and delay rates were at unacceptable proportions last year, and it's important that that not happen again.
More than 42 million Americans are expected to travel 50 miles or more from home over the holiday weekend, a 7% increase over 2022, according to AAA. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby says the industry as a whole has done a good job to prepare for this summer.
And at United, we have 10% more employees per block hour than we had pre-pandemic.
Secretary Buttigieg said earlier this month, in terms of air traffic controllers, the government is still about 3,000 short, but are planning to hire 1,500 this year. For Scott Kirby, that remains one of the greatest concerns.
What we really need is the FAA reauthorization bill to authorize more funds. It's not their fault, by the way. It's a 20-year problem.
While most travelers will be driving to their destinations, car travel is still expected to be down slightly from pre-pandemic levels, with gas prices higher than 2019 levels, but still lower than this time last year. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
What ways can you protect your bones as you get older? That story when we return. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
I mean, what we didn't realize was that the invasion wasn't the war. The war was to come.
The enduring story of the Battle of Fallujah.
Our mission was to clear the city of insurgents. There was a full-on frontal assault, and you don't stop until everybody stops shooting.
There were shots coming from everywhere.
And the human cost.
My son was one of the ones who didn't come back.
Premieres Tuesday, May 23rd, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
On the next Wild Scandinavia.
For me as a woman, I wanted just to put more adventure into my life.
It's just you against the elements. It's great. There's something healing in it.
And it is the most amazing feeling.
Your brain.
Every moment changes your brain.
But who or what is really in control? It has a mind of its own.
There's always someone pulling the strings behind the scenes. That I control my emotions, abilities is probably not true.
Environment and traumatic events change people, putting our sense of self to the test.
Come on, no, seriously.
Your brain. Who's in control on Nova?
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, this is Betty. This is Leslie. Betty loves this cabinet on stand.
Well, I just think it's fabulous, and I've always thought it was gorgeous. I just bought it because I loved it.
Find out if Leslie loves it too next time on Antiques Roadshow from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Around 1 in 5 women over the age of 50 are affected by osteoporosis. It's a disease that weakens the bones, allowing them to easily break. But there are things you can do at any age to help prevent weakened bones. Mandy Gaither has more ways on how you can keep your bones stronger as you get older.
It rarely has symptoms, and many don't even know they have osteoporosis until a bone is broken after a minor fall or bump.
It's not a painful condition, but it can make your bones more fragile
and prone to fracture, which is why falls can be so devastating in older individuals, hip fractures, other fractures, etc.
Dr. Amit Shah with Mayo Clinic says healthy bones need an adequate amount of calcium and also vitamin D, whether that's spending a short time in the sunlight or taking a supplement. For most people, he says, that would be 1,000 to 2,000 international units.
Everyone wants a quick pill. If I just take some vitamin D or if I take some medicines, won't I be able to just keep my bones strong? And yes, there's roles for all of those things, but it's important to do some of the things that are good for the rest of your health.
That includes not smoking, limiting alcohol, and focusing on weight-bearing exercises that can help with balance and muscle strength.
Water aerobics can be great even if you have arthritic knees or hips, and so that can help quite a bit.
Shaw says women and men should be screened for osteoporosis. The recommended age varies based on risk factors.
Gives people an idea of what's the density of your bones and gives you an idea of, well, do you need some of the medications that we have that do help to treat osteoporosis?
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Shaw says while some bone density loss is inevitable, falling is not. He says seniors should make modifications such as securing loose rugs and installing handrails to reduce falls. When we return, a new report finds humans have been showing affection for thousands of years.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
I mean, what we didn't realize was that the invasion wasn't the war. The war was to come.
The enduring story of the Battle of Fallujah.
Our mission was to clear the city of insurgents. There was a full-on frontal assault, and you don't stop until everybody stops shooting.
There were shots coming from everywhere.
And the human cost.
My son was one of the ones who didn't come back.
Premieres Tuesday, May 23rd, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
This is making me emotional.
On Finding Your Roots, Mario Lopez.
Man, I'm just blessed to be born when I was.
And Melissa Villaseñor.
I'm Basque, baby. I want to shout it from the mountaintops.
Ancestors who crossed the border.
This is not what we think of Mexican immigration.
It's kind of cool.
Leaving family history behind.
You ever think of yourself as an indigenous woman?
I love that.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Your brain.
Every moment changes your brain.
But who or what is really in control? It has a mind of its own.
There's always something pulling the strings behind the scenes that I control. My emotions, abilities is probably not true.
Environment and traumatic events change people, putting our sense of self to the test.
Come on, no, seriously.
Your brain. Who's in control on Nova?
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Finally tonight, apparently people have been puckering up for a long time. According to a review paper published in the Science Journal, romantic kissing was documented in clay tablets from Mesopotamia dating back 4,500 years ago. Prior to this research, it was believed that this style of affection originated around 3,500 years ago in the area that is now India. The new finding comes from a pair of married Danish researchers who describe themselves as a, quote, a very nerdy couple. They came up with the idea to search for the first kiss last year while they were talking about a research paper related to herpes.
And finally, for some weather tonight, we'll see overnight lows of 52 degrees, so pretty comfortable. Great time to open up some windows, get some fresh air in your house. With mostly clear skies, you might see some stars out tonight, so it'll be quite nice outside. Again, this area is dominated by some high pressure, so that's why we're seeing these mostly cloudless skies. But tomorrow, we'll see a chance of thunderstorms possible as we move into the day tomorrow, and throughout this week, it's going to be comfortable in the 70s.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Reese Thompson. Have a great night.
Donating your old car, motorcycle, or truck
helps support public television. And it may get you a pretty nice tax deduction, too. Plus, we make donating your car easy. Just call our toll-free